Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the channel for another episode today of No More Kids in Scientology. Hello, Marina. Hello, Lauren. Venus Blue Jeans, City of Angels, Jessica Tate. Thank you so much for joining us here. Exactly, Amanda. Demand accountability. So for tonight's episode, you guys, we are talking about the breaking news of this. The breaking news of Rebecca Minkoff. According to Deadline, Rebecca Minkoff joins the Real Housewives of New York City season 15. So April 16, breaking at 2:18 p.m. with Rebecca Minkoff joining the Real Housewives of New York City. So personally, I don't watch the Housewives of New York City, you guys. Personally, I'm just, for the very first time in my life, caught up with the Beverly Hills ones. So imagine that we don't even follow these New York ones, but you know, they are tapping Rebecca Minkoff to come and be part of their show. Rebecca Minkoff is joining the Real Housewives of New York City season 15, Deadline has learned. A source close to production says that the fashion designer has been filming with the cast for the new season in an unspecified role. Isn't that great, you guys? Unspecified role. Bravo has yet to confirm if Minkoff will be holding an apple with the rest of the cast in a full-time capacity, or if she's going to just take a friend role when the reality series returns later this year. Minkoff co-founded with her brother Uri Minkoff, my student at the Literal Hotel, the Rebecca Minkoff brand, which specializes in luxury handbags, accessories, and apparel. In September 2018, she established the Female Founder Collective. Oh, the Female Founder Collective, you guys, a network of women-led business that invest in women's financial power and empowers female-owned businesses. So that's great. It's really great that Female Founder Collective and a whole bunch of network here to really empower women, financial power. Imagine that no women inside of a Scientology hotel give a shred of help. Imagine that underage kids inside of Scientology hotels are not any that this Female Founder Collective is interested in giving a shred of help. Imagine that it makes not a shred of sense that no one has done any due diligence on what happens inside Scientology hotels and commercial buildings, on the fact that they are literally employing minors from all over countries, bringing them into the hotel, signing them up for a billion-year contract, and then poof, disappeared. The designer is no stranger to Bravo, as she has been a guest judge on Project Runway throughout the years, and other reality TV appearances include E's So Cosmo, and as one of the investors of Lifetime's Project Runway fashion startup. Bravo recently announced that the entire cast of Real Housewives of New York reboot, including Saida Silva, Uba Hassan, Erin Leachy, Jenna Lyons, Jessel Tank, and Bryn Whitfield, will return for the new season. Season 14 in the series was up versus the prior season, with the July 2023 premiere marking the most watched episode for the series in the 3 years. Real Housewives of New York is produced by Shed Media, Lisa Shannon, Lauren Volonakis, and Anne Swan, who are executive producers, and Andy Cohen, who also executive produces. Eric Fuller and Alfonso Rosales co-executive produce. So shout out to all of you executive producers that don't have a shred of access to Google. Shout out to you, Andy Cohen, who cannot Google, who cannot type, Rebecca Minkoff, who cannot, do a little due diligence, right? Just to know what in the hell. Just for funsies. Let's just do a little bit of the due diligence that they didn't bother to do. I mean, let's just do that for funsies right now. And here we go, you guys. Actually, I have to pull it up from here. Oh, I closed it. So this actually ties back to what we were just talking about earlier today with Mike Rinder being very heavily involved in doing Lisa McPherson's cover-up. So he wasn't available apparently to, to be informed about anything that was going on inside the hotel. So let's see what this due diligence that none of those executive producers bothered to do. Ex-Scientology official exposes church's alleged medical cover-up. Now, great, you guys. A little Google away, and you go Clearwater, Florida. A former high-ranking Scientology official who handled the case of a mentally ill member who died in Scientology care ordered the destruction of incriminating evidence to cover up missteps, a newspaper reported on Monday. Well, isn't that great, you guys, that we now know who was tapped to destroy incriminating evidence, including but not limited to Laura FM. Laura FM on YouTube. Check out her at Laura FM on YouTube. And yes, she's already spoken about how she was a child. She was told she was a messenger. She was told that she was an emissary of literal Ron Hubbard, and that it was part of her job to shred incriminating evidence to cover up missteps. The ex-official Scientology defector Marty Rathbun had for years insisted that Scientology did nothing wrong in handling the Lisa McPherson death on December 5th, 1995. But he recently told the St. Petersburg Times that Scientology botched the woman's case from the start. So yes, this all ties back to Rebecca Minkoff, you guys. Just hold on to your literal seats. Scientology dismisses Rathbun as a bitter former member who's now on their payroll. Not great, you guys, that Marty Rathbun is back on the payroll of Scientology attorneys so he can keep his big mouth shut. Scientology said he'd been demoted in 2003 and he left in 2004. Rathbun said that he initially wanted to go to the state's attorney's office after the 36-year-old's death, but he instead followed Scientology's culture to never admit fault. Wow, you guys. Straight from the horse's mouth. Marty literal Rathbun, that is literally joined the ranks of Debbie Cook, the ranks of Angie Blankenship, women that were Ghislaine Maxwell's on steroids themselves, trafficking kids at industrial size scales. Ain't nobody have seen more children trafficked inside to a hotel than what these women literally had for themselves. There is no hotel in the world staffed with as many minors as Scientology hotels are run. So let's just really keep that in mind. And let's really underline, underscore, and circle in red the fact that Marty Literal Rathbun, when he wasn't getting paid, he was all about admitting that Scientology's culture is to never admit fault. Never. He and others removed papers from McPherson's files, including a caretaker's opinion that the situation was out of control and that the patient needed a doctor. Quote, I said, lose him, and walked out of the room, Rathbun told the newspaper. Lose him. Isn't that great, Mark Rinder, that you were handling this case? So-called handling this case. The case that you love to remind everyone that you were handling so that you didn't find out about any underage kids getting essayed in Florida, in LA, in Australia, because nobody was sending any of those messages to your underlings. No one's saying that you weren't outsourcing that to underlings, Mike Rinder, but you were still at the top of the pyramid. That's what your problem is. You're at the top of the pyramid regardless. You're the watchdog of that pyramid, Mike Rinder. So really think about that long and hard. Where were you positioned? Did you have underlings? Did you have proteges that you were having, directing to do your dirty work? Since you were the senior, you and Marty, telling people to lose files and walking out of rooms. I mean, let that really sink in, you guys. Like, we've told you a billion trillion times already. The problem that all Scientology executives have, the problem that all Scientology parents literally have, is that they recorded, transcribed, videotaped all the evidence against their damn selves. There's not enough papers, there's not enough shredders in this world for them to, they literally have to light up all their PC folder warehouses on fire for them to start covering up their tracks. And imagine that folders are everywhere in the entire world. McPherson's death prompted investigations, lawsuits, and has remained a talking point among Scientology critics. I mean, I think it's more than a little talking point. A woman died. It was covered up in the most egregious, disgusting way with full impunity, as Marty Rathbun, I'm sure, could testify. But, who cares? I guess Mike Rinder was too busy covering up a death that everything is wonderful and amazing, apparently. A wrongful death case was settled with McPherson's family in 2004 under undisclosed terms. And while investigations brought charges of criminal neglect and practicing medicine without a license, they were later dropped when the coroner changed the cause of death to an accident from undetermined. Isn't that great, you guys, that Florida shows us how corrupt they really are, how manipulatable they truly are. State Attorney Bernie McCabe said destruction of evidence charges would have had to be brought within 3 years of the crime and that the investigation into McPherson death was over. Oh, Marty Rathbun, looks like you didn't wake up in time. Looks like you did run out the statutes of limitation for that to be investigated, but then you came out with the goods later. so that you could, secure a little down payment for yourself, as if you were not using that smearing technique back to your disgusting lawyers that you all work together, little Monique Yingling, as if you weren't leveraging all of this against all of them and calculating, let me put out this word out there because, it's already been 3 years, so no one's going to come and investigate us for destroying, shredding files. I wonder if this idiot state attorney Bernie McCabe was ever told that it was a child who you tapped to destroy evidence, including but not limited to, God knows who else you tapped. But we do know from Laura's literal words that she was being used. So imagine that you had children destroying criminal activity and evidence that you were all keeping on your damn selves. The whole thing was done wrong, Rathbun told the newspaper. I can tell you what a technical crime this was. Well, yeah, great, Marty Rathbun. You can only tell us when you are trying to negotiate a payment plan so you can literally get a monthly stipend from these people to shut the F up about the crimes you committed, including but not limited to against children, including but not limited to against me. Marty disgusting Rathbun, and your wife too, Ann Rathbun. Literally the both of you, Bonnie and Clyde's from hell. Jeffries and Jelane's from hell, the both of you. Grotesque. Chuck spokesperson Tommy Davis, nowhere to be found today, said he couldn't specifically comment on any of Rathbun's claims because of the settlement. Oh, isn't that great, you guys? Tommy Davis couldn't find words because there was a settlement, and then all of a sudden, whatever happened, happened, right? That's all we ever get. Whatever happened, happened. It sucks to be all the victims. Better luck next lifetime to you, Lisa McPherson. What he has been saying, there's so many lies, you can't believe anything at this point because he's been lying so much, Davis said. I mean, talk about projection. Tommy Projection Davis says that everyone is lying and no one can believe anything because there's been so many lies. Imagine being Tommy Davis and you're literally lying nonstop, but you're blaming everyone else on being liars. I mean, this is when Marty Rathbun finally was coming to his so-called senses, but little can no one tell that the idiot is calculated AF, and he's only telling part of the withholds that are going to land him at the FBI because, oh yeah, as this corrupt state attorney, whatever his name was, Bernie McCabe, it's been 3 years, the whole thing is over. Better luck next lifetime, Scientology children. Better luck next lifetime. See if someone can help you. McPherson joined Scientology at 18 in her hometown of Dallas and moved to Scientology Spirituals headquarters in Clearwater. 18-year-olds, you guys. That's who these people are targeting. That's who these people are trafficking across state lines from Texas to Florida. 18. On November 1895, she was involved in a traffic accident and soon became frantic, according to newspaper reports, stripping her clothes and walking along the street. She was taken to the hospital where doctors discussed having her committed for psychiatric evaluation, but Scientology opposes psychiatry and mandated reporters. So, no, she went to the psychiatrist. She was taken away from mandated reporters' prying eyes. According to the Times, about 10 Scientology members went and got her and signed her out against a doctor's advice. Well, yeah, you guys, because Scientology people are know-it-alls and they don't give an F about a doctor's advice. They don't give an F about an attorney's advice. They don't give an F about anything. They just look up L. Ron Hubbard. What did L. Ron Hubbard said to do? Oh, yep, get her out, get her out, get her out. We're going to save a world by taking her out. But all All they wanted was no mandated reporters anywhere near their victims. That's all they're pressed about. I mean, the stupidity of Mike Rinder to say that there's another problem with psychiatry when you know firsthand, Mike Rinder, you don't want any of your victims to end up where? With a doctor, where? With a teacher, where? With a police officer, where else? With a psychiatrist, a therapist, or any other form of mandated reporter. That's where you cut the legs so that, so y'all don't get investigated. So it's all called acting with premeditative intent to literally bog down the victim that you have stuck your fangs inside. So just clear that up in your literal head. She was brought to Scientology's Fort Harrison Hotel. Fort Harrison Hotel. In 17 days, McPherson was kept in a room where Scientology officials tried to calm, feed, and medicate her, keeping logs of what transpired. These people keep logs for everything. Lisa was being video recorded. I watched the video. I walked into Richard Reese's office. I saw Lisa. They were all talking about her. Debbie Cook was there. Richard Reese was there. Alan Kurtosinski was there. and Glushika was there. They were all there talking about this woman going crazy. They were all there, writing it down, calling each other up, sending reports, typing it up, sending all the info between all those people that completed a 2-week course inside of a hotel. And then they were just, playing doctor. She slapped and screamed at the caretakers, babbled and vomited, the newspaper reported. And she spiraled downward and lost about 12 pounds. A Scientology doctor who was unlicensed in Florida phoned David Minkoff. Rebecca Minkoff, David Minkoff, a fellow Scientologist who was licensed doctor in the state. Minkoff said that McPherson should be taken to the hospital down the street. The Scientologist feared McPherson would be exposed to psychiatric care there and then drove 45 minutes to a hospital where Minkoff was working, and Minkoff pronounced her dead upon arrival. Other revelations in the newspaper's 3-part series revealed that McPherson had achieved clear status, a designation that means they're free of painful trauma and unwanted feelings. I mean, again, with this regurgitation of the BS of a convicted felon. Becoming clear didn't mean anything other than you were ensnared in their disgusting role-playing games from hell. That yes, breaking news to everybody, being locked up against your will can end you up like Lisa, in a state of complete mania, in a state of complete and utter disorientation. You don't know what in the literal hell is actually going on with you, because you're just being abused and abused and abused ad nauseum for hours and hours on end. The designation comes through auditing Scientology's trademark counseling. The newspaper earlier reported that leader of Scientology, David Miscavige, struck his subordinates numerous times. Oh, yeah. I mean, always talking about the striking of subordinates. But the point here is that Rebecca Literal Minkoff is the daughter of David Minkoff. They are a family of long history with aiding and abetting everything that Scientology commercial buildings and hotels do, to including but not limited to minors, to including but not limited to this woman. David got in a lot of ethics trouble at the time, you guys. We all found out about it. David Minkoff was, I think, like his license was revoked to practice medicine, or it was being reviewed. He was being sent to ethics. He was being sec checked. He was being interrogated. He was getting the works. Everybody found out how toxic he was. Because again, why? Because he was the intermediary between this and the technology of L. Ron Hubbard, the one that's really going to save a whole world altogether. Because again, Lisa McPherson was being talked to as she was a degraded being. She was so degraded. She was so disgusting. She was so unhinged. She was vomiting on everybody. We wouldn't want to lose our chance to save a world because of this woman. So just so everyone understands how this woman was spoken about in staff meetings by Debbie Cook. This degraded being that decided to have this happen to her, that decided to die on our watch. How dare she, is how Debbie Cook was pitching it at the staff meeting. How dare she die? How dare she create problems for us? So, I mean, with these people is just bizarro and bizarro and bizarro again and again and again. Venus Blue Jeans. She said she got her big break because Jenna Elfman wore one of her shirts on a Leno appearance. Yes, that's correct. Venus Blue Jeans. And we were there when all of that was happening. And again, I had just left the Sea York at the time and I went to New York City. So we'll talk about all of that history at another episode. But suffice it to say that, yes, all of Scientology celebrities are getting hooked up with other people. It's a network, you guys. It's a network of PR and positioning and what can you do for me and what can I do for you? And let's really help you out and let's really make you millions. So just literally keep that in mind because again, it's all the money that these people have donated that funds the trafficking, that funds the unconscionable abuse of children who cannot consent to what they're being put up to do. And Becky Minkoff should have known that, given that she grew up in there. And Becky Minkoff, given that she has a so-called empowerment group of women, well, you know what? Empower some children that are being trafficked inside of the hotels, Rebecca Minkoff. You never went into the Sea Org, but your brother, Max Minkoff, was in the Sea Org. And I think he was almost under 21 before he was abducted into the Sea Org. And I think he's still there being a slave. So in what world are you not pressed? In what world are you not concerned? In what world have you done no change? In the year 2024, you are now following on your parents' footsteps, donating money so that children be abused. So now that's your problem. Literally, who is who of child abusers tune into reality TV. Andy Cohen 100% did this on purpose. Believe me, they know. They're waiting for it to blow up during the show. I mean, again, right? Scientology off the rails. Good point. I mean, I think these people are very premeditated. And again, it's like what's hidden inside the underbelly of that disgusting hotel operation is the unhinged abuse of kids. And it's not a joke and it's not clickbait, Andy Cohen. So maybe you should be really thinking about what in the hell you're doing and who in the hell you're getting involved in. Do a shred of due diligence. Because you're literally modeling now Rebecca Minkoff as this great thing for your brand. Well, find out what she is funding. Find out where her money is. Put your money where your mouth is. It's called Rebecca Minkoff. You're putting your money where your literal mouth is. And if you're doing the exact same thing your parents did to you, if you find it not at all problematic, if you are ensnaring your own kids with the language that launders reality, that deludes and blurs all common sense, literal boundaries. There's no excuse for any of these idiots to still be involved in the disgusting rhetoric of L. Ron Hubbard. There is no literal excuse. Is it going to hurt to wake up that you're a complete part of a fraud, that your parents put you up to this, that they lied about everything, yes, it's going to hurt. But you have become them now. So now you have to deal with those consequences. Kraken Studio. I can tell you firsthand, Andy is hands off, but still gets credit. However, all casting directors should be looking, and they are. So what are the motives then? Scientology, right, you guys? Because I mean, Scientology tries to put its members there to give this aura of like, oh, look, y'all, we're so normal. We're just like everyone else. Look, look at us. We're so famous. I mean, fame in Scientology is what they're all coveting. That's the secret OT level. Who's famous? Who's got fame? Who's got clout? Who's an influencer? So yeah, thank you for that, Kraken Studio. The reality TV world is deep in all kinds of abuse and illegal shiesty s. Yeah, I mean, so much of it is just ew. Did Scientology buy a spot on that show? Well, you know what? Scientology wouldn't put their money in there, but you know, they're happy if Rebecca's using this as a branding opportunity for herself. I mean, it's not like her bags are really selling. It's not like her brand is hot or anything. It's just literally out there, you know? So I think this was more of a desperate attempt for them to be relevant and see if, you know, they could promote her brand of bags to this. All roads lead to Mike Rinder. I mean, Mike Rinder, you were the top of those. Little Wikipedia says that you were managing a KGB CIA style operation. So in what world are you the only KGB agent and CIA director that wasn't interested in information? That information of the most extreme sensitive nature wasn't landing with you. I mean, please make it make sense, Mike Rinder, because it ain't making a shred of sense. And there's no reason why it shouldn't be making sense. It's the year 2024. So where's your real OW write-up? Why is your needle dirty as fuck? Dirty needle means you have withholds, means you're withholding, means you keep telling part of a withhold but not the rest. You keep misdirecting the auditor. You keep, you know, pretending you're going to come clean a la Marty Rathbun. Oh, let me come clean on this, you guys. Oh, yeah, look, the statute of limitations has run out. Okay, then it's great. Let me really come clean and see what type of payment plan I can get on by starting to spew black PR, which is exactly how the facts get distorted in there. Because if you say something true that they were up to, then you're black PRing. It's always the same BS with them. Yay, good to see you, Gypsy. Richard Reese and Alan Kardasinski have a lot of accountability to take for. They were senior case supervisors. That means they were supervising and instructing the auditors on exactly what to do. 1000%, you guys. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You want to know who the most criminal of criminals, of disgusting degenerates are? The case supervisors. Case supervisors are one-on-one, directly watching, directly listening as it is happening in real time. And they are the ones that are moving everything around and doing all the illegal things behind the scenes. So both of these men are already dead. Imagine Richard Reese died of toe cancer and Alon Kurdisinski had some of the problem. You know, both of them got in a lot of trouble when this happened. Alan Kardasinski was made to be folding laundry for the rest of his life. He went from being the class 12 case supervisor, oh, look at him, he's the most highly trained, the one that completed 2-week courses, overseeing this, acting as a lawyer, acting as a medical practitioner, acting as whatever in the hell they wanted to pretend that they were. Meanwhile, they were just a bunch of pathetic know-it-alls. Don't join a cult, y'all. The law will refuse to help you. That's right. And once the law catches up to you, good luck defending yourself for pretending that you can blame it on everything else other than yourself. As literal Ruby Frankie, how that worked out for her. How that worked out for her to go to a so-called therapist, have so-called said therapist put practices that are just utter illegalities. And once they were caught, they couldn't. Ruby Frankie is facing the same sentence and the other disgusting woman. So all Scientology parents that really want to go, oh, I was told to do this to my child. Well, you know what? Check how that went for Ruby Frankie. Check it out real quick. Check out if actual aggravated child abuse, a literal serious AF felony, is something that you're going to be able to just wash off by saying, oh, the case supervisor told me this would be a great idea. I trusted them. Yeah, and this is another good point, Kay. If the auditors did something other than what was ordered, they would have to go to cramming. Cramming, I mean, what a gross word, but cramming, you guys meant correction. And they would possibly have to go to ethics to get fixed on whatever they did wrong to that person. And imagine, yes, underage children such as Natalie Galbiati, underage children such as Sherry Chapolina, underage children such as Iride, underage children, all the auditors that were there auditing adults. There were so many of those. Matteo Galbiati, his brother, Andrea Galbiati, all these kids, Camilo Saldarriaga, like so many children auditors. They normalized it. All Scientology parents went into full agreement. It's called they were mutual outroots AF. They were so blinded by their own criminality that they couldn't even see straight. I mean, look how that's working out for you now, Rebecca Minkoff. For you to be ensnared in the midst of all of this, you are now a donor. You are now following on your parents' literal footsteps. You're now donating as other children get ensnared into the Sea Org, as you know exactly what that means. As if you don't have your own brother ensnared in that disgusting scheme himself. Yeah, I mean, get away with, as we know, from Lisa McPherson. Hello, Psych Sauce. Good to see you too. They have their own doctors and they will use you and try to, yeah. I mean, you're always being sent to vetted, mandated reporters. You guys, all the people that they work with, they make sure they're not going to get reported on. They work on safe pointing, they call it. Imagine how many doctors at the Kaiser literal hospital across from the Blue building have been compromised. Imagine there's nothing that Kaiser has ever reported to the LAPD in all the decades that they've been seeing people from that Blue building. Imagine being Kaiser, being so disgustingly corrupt. It's time to start holding celebrities accountable as well. They know about the kids and they leave them there. Yes, that's right, Marina. We have to hold all the stakeholders accountable. And this is why they all are going in the same bucket. If you're a Scientology parent, you are in a bucket. You are the who and you are the why. Without Scientology parents, there is no children. How did the children get there? Who brought them there? Who put them in harm's way? Who left them to be harmed? Can you even imagine how many kids are now adults that haven't come out yet? No one believes you, Claire, Mark, Matt, Mitch, and AI. Yeah, there's so many kids, you guys. There's so many kids that don't have the strength to speak, that are scared AF of speaking out about their experience. And that's why we have to, encourage them to see other people taking their power back and saying, no, you're not going to do this. No, you're not going to do this to others. That's the only thing left to protect out of this disgusting scenario that we got ensnared in. The only reason it matters is because no other kids should be ensnared in this. Period. Full stop. So we don't care, Rebecca, if you got ensnared, if this was all normalized for you, if you were groomed to the nth degree, whatever your situation is, who literally cares? You're a grown-ass woman today and you're still supporting and funding whatever happens in that hotel. Your dollars that you get to write off by the IRS get to pay children inside of a hotel. So in case you think that's a very religious experience for children, it isn't. It isn't. Your children should not be left in those hotels and locked against their will. That was done with you. Check if you really liked it. Double check if you really liked it that much. Power to survivors. That's exactly right. What about her parents and her family? I mean, both of them are high into Scientology, OTAs, David Minkoff. Her mom, they ensnared all their kids. They got everything in there. They got everyone in there. Complete sycophants is what it is, you guys. And that is what the danger is here. The danger is being an extremist. L. Ron Hubbard wanted his proteges to become extremists. They have no critical thinking skills for themselves. They don't think for themselves. They're too worried about keeping up with the Joneses, literally. Oh, you did it. Oh, you did it. Oh, we're all doing it. So let it go. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem with exactly what these things are. It cannot just be letting it go. Who literally cares? Better luck next lifetime. I mean, no. Clara, did any parents ever think this was wrong that they took their kids out there? No. I mean, Clara, remember, they keep telling us we're so lucky. Oh, you're so lucky to be getting these audits. You're so lucky to be doing the courses. You're so lucky to be getting the ethics handlings. We were lucky to be abused. And our parents literally purporting that this was all kid friendly. This was all okay. There are no safety guardrails for children. There's no toning down the rhetoric. There's no, let's not do it like this for a child. There's just none. They treat children like adults. They lock them up in the exact same way. It's an everything goes environment for kids inside of those disgusting hotels, which all of these people have paid memberships to. And that's why the adults cannot claim that they're victims and that they had no clue, because they have a clue. They know. They're in on it. So the parents are the problem, literally. I think I heard something about them avoiding Cedars-Sinai because of reporting. I mean, probably true. Probably true. Again, these people vet, workout programs, figure it out. What can we do? What can we, there's a whole scheme going on. And remember, they've had decades to perfect their scheme, decades to kneecap whoever they needed kneecapped at Kaiser, whoever they needed kneecapped at the LAPD, whoever they needed kneecapped at the Clearwater Police. They have an entire KGB operation running to kneecap, trying to destroy, to save point so that they can get away with their illegal criminal activity, and then everybody wins and a world's going to be saved by children getting ensnared and enslaved. Question: my friend is a public Scientologist and denies a lot of things. Is there a possibility that she just isn't aware because she's not on staff, or do you think that she's lying to me? It's a combination, you guys. It's a combination of the delusion of grandeur that they're stuck in. Okay? Because again, the words matter. These people are hypnotizing all of these people through words like a win. You're going to really have a win. You're going to get rid of the out to D and your needle's going to float. I mean, what I just said there is you're going to win. Whatever perverted sexual thing you did is going to be floated and everything's going to be great. So just imagine the level of identity that these people have now formed as a result of being fed all these terms. And it's very, very hard for them to come to terms with the fact that they're completely scammed. They just cannot see it like that. And, you know, when it comes to your friend just being a public, you know, the public definitely get shielded from out PR things. So there is a level of, there is a wall between what they're doing to the kids, how they're yelling, screaming, whatever they're doing to kids, just the staff people. It's one thing. You have to be vetted to see that part. So your friend probably doesn't see a lot of executives yelling and screaming at children because they wouldn't allow it. They would be doing that at a Thursday meeting where there's no public around. That's literally what they say. Oh, make sure there's no public around you guys. And then they'll have their way with a child and scream at them. And you're so disgusting and you're so degraded and you're so downstat and you didn't complete your course and you're so pathetic. So that's number one. Number two, it's like they deny it because, yes, I mean, you know, how long has it taken us to decompress, to understand the depths of the depravity of the betrayal? It's called betrayal blindness. And we do learn that in therapy, that betrayal blindness is a thing. And that's what I would call that they're all stuck in this betrayal blindness. They cannot accept they've been betrayed because once they accept that, they become exactly what they're pretending that they're not. Oh, I'm not a child trafficker. I never thought I was child trafficking kids. Doesn't matter what you were thinking. Ruby Frankie thought that she was really pulling demons out of her children as they were literally left in handcuffs. So does it really matter what delusional people think that they're doing or not? It doesn't really matter. And that's why they do need to be told the facts as cold and as hard as they are. Because the sooner they confront evil, which is the one thing L. Ron Hubbard said to all his proteges, oh yeah, people don't confront evil, you guys. Well, they cannot confront the evil of L. Ron Hubbard. All Scientology parents are a bunch of namby-pamby, low confront of evil, feedy-weedy. We're going to really save a world by enslaving children because L. Ron Hubbard told us that would be a great idea. So it's just called a contrary fact. You cannot be enslaving kids. You cannot be laundering felonies and then pretend that you're saving a world. I mean, those are the kind of cold, hard facts that these Scientology people need to be woken up with. Because you know what? When adults are abusing kids, they don't deserve to be cradled and canoodled, which is all they want. Oh, no, tell me in a way that I'm not going to reject you. We don't give an F if you're rejecting it or not. The children are being abused. Stop doing it. It's going to get called out. They're being locked up against their will. What type of the auditor's code did you not understand? I promise never to let a PC finish a session on their own determinism. And that's all it took from a convicted felon to type on a piece of paper. So all of these adults locked up kids against their will inside of a hotel because L. Ron Hubbard told them to do that. So it's so disgusting. It's so egregious. It permeates every aspect of their perceptions, and they become the problem. So I'm sorry to hear that you're having this problem with your friend, but you know, I am simply at the point where Scientology fought off so hard to have the so-called deprogrammers, right? Because a deprogrammer is when they come in and they take the adult against their will out of it, and then they try to talk sense into it. And it's like, again, it's like no one's here to deprogram anyone. Rebecca Minkoff is a full-grown ass woman that can Google for herself. If she wants to save herself, she can literally walk out and do the heavy lifting herself. But we are advocating for your kids, Rebecca Minkoff. We are advocating for all the other kids that you are now funding the disgusting abuse, because your dollars are going towards that. So don't kid yourself. Don't try to put yourself distance. Well, I wasn't a Sea Org member, so I didn't do it. So it doesn't matter. You're paying for it to be done. So what does it matter if you do it or you didn't do it, or if you were in the Sea Org or you're not in the Sea Org? Scientology was set up on a house of cards. Time for it to calm down. I mean, it is a full-blown house of pathetic cards, you guys. Like, I mean, the source being a convicted felon and all, in what world was there any good faith? I mean, just answer that question. Anyone that wants to answer that question from, the legal profession would be great to start answering that question. In what world can you purport that a convicted felon is acting in good faith when he's already been convicted of crimes, including fraud? Imagine that's what he got convicted in France for, fraud. I don't know Martha Cuello Arasho. I don't know what type of year she was in there. Maybe tell me the year, but the name doesn't ring a bell. Was she a minor? They use taxes. They save to pay off cops. Yeah. LAPD is wonderfully accepting all manner of donations from these people. Can someone get the records out so that they can hold a show that shows the crimes? Yeah. I mean, the FBI can go and do that, you guys. They've already done that one time. Once upon a time, when they got really pressed that their documents were being touched and tampered by the KGB of Scientology, the Guardian's office, then the FBI came and raided. All it would take is one raid, and they would have all the information to prosecute and convict every last Scientology parent. How about that? No one will be exempted from prosecution when all the records show that they were all in a conspiracy. Kids cannot consent. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, well, Bravo is Bravo. So bravo for giving us this, video to react. We're going to be able to see Scientologists in the wild. So we'll be able to inspect literally what in the hell, you guys. Literally what in the hell, Rebecca Minkoff. Compliments of her. Hello, Kimberly in Japan. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you. If you are aware that children are auditing adults, you are guilty as hell, and you are self-absorbed, children-hating, less than human that should be punished, public or not. I mean, yeah, witchy woman. I mean, that's what's being called out. Scientology is audits. Scientology is not fair game. Scientology is not this connection who gives a literal shred of a literal F about the 1,001 billion side effects that you get from what? From being audited, ethics handled, and groomed through disgusting, unthinkable, abominable courses. But Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, Debbie Cook, and all their little buddies have gone out there to muddy and meddle and make it all so complicated. Oh, we were trying to save a world. It's a technology. It's a religion. It's a this. It's a that. It's a business. Xenu, the alien. Who the hell literally cares? You were locking children up, like you just said here, with adults that could pay 12 and a half hours. Buy time with a child inside of a hotel for 12 and a half hours, starting at that. Some of these people would buy 10 intensives. So 10 times 12, 10 times 12 and a half, 200 plus hours they could buy for themselves inside a hotel room with a child. You would know that, Rebecca Minkoff. You would literally know that yourself. As if your money's not going towards that, as if you're not being serviced by underage kids inside of the Fort Harrison Hotel, inside of the superpower building. But didn't nothing happen from that raid? Yes, a lot happened from that raid, actually. A lot of documents were literally found. I mean, these people, literally, the FBI went through the documents. I'm like, oh my God, these people are keeping everything. They had a solid AF case. Thanks to the office that Mike Rinder wasn't running at that time. It was Mary Sue Hubbard and the rest of her corrupt, disgusting proteges. So, yeah. But then Mike Rinder was there to, take it over. Because why not? Why not save a world while trafficking minors? Right, Mike Rinder? I've said for several years, I don't know how there are no RICO charges yet for David Miscavige. Well, that's right, you guys. There's no racketeering enterprise charges because people are still playing dumb. And no one is taking the children being ensnared inside of these buildings seriously, just as much as we weren't taken serious when we were there. Imagine that with everything we have gone on the public record to sound the alarm, code red, with how clear and specific we've been about our own personal experiences locked up inside of these hotels, with our passports taken away, with adults buying time with us being essayed and then getting blamed for it. But apparently none of that is racketeering. Apparently everyone is practicing a very religious thing. And all we get is lazy court systems that go, oh, I don't want to have an opinion about that. I wouldn't want to have a shred of critical thinking for myself. Meanwhile, L. Ron Hubbard did a solid and wrote everything that these people are doing on a piece of paper. These people are robots. What did L. Ron Hubbard say? Oh, look, L. Ron Hubbard said to do this. Like complete idiots. Oh, no, don't have a critical thought about what L. Ron Hubbard said because, oh, my God, then you're the problem. I mean, what type of degenerate people, adults, go into a hotel to outsource their critical thinking skills? I mean, what excuse do you have to have outsourced all your parental duties, all your critical thinking skills to a convicted felon? How was that going to work out for you, Scientology parents, to, outsource all of that to a convicted felon that you are claiming is religious, whatever in the hell you're saying it is for you? Nobody cares if you're getting off on it. Nobody cares to come and rescue you. Nobody cares to come and interfere. But the fact is, Rebecca Minkoff, just so it's clear to you, if you love audits, if you love getting audited as a child, there's other children that are ensnared in the Sea Org today. You would know that. You have access to those hotels. You go and get service inside of the hotels. If kids are work clearing you, if kids are giving you ethics cycles, if kids are sec checking you, if kids are auditing you, if kids are administering OW write-ups with you, if any of those things can apply to you and to the rest of all Scientology parents, then all of you have a big problem on your literal hands. And it's about time that you literally figure it out, what that problem is. Because the truth will always win eventually, once the truth actually sees the light of day. So thank you guys for literally listening and seeing what in the hell's going on. Why wasn't Mike Rinder's name in the article you read? Also the legal case? Well, this article was just talking about, the breaking news of this article was discussing Marty Rathbun coming forward with his admissions. So there's another entire article from the Tampa Bay Times around that time where Mike Rinder's involvement is mentioned. So yeah, I mean, Mike Rinder's mentioned all over the Lisa McPherson case because yes, we've been able to verify that Mike Rinder was part of that cleanup operation. And imagine that, you know, these articles aren't aging very well for you, Mike Rinder, because if literal Marty Rathbun, your little bestie Westie of that time, is saying that your standard operating procedure was to never admit fault, imagine you're still running on that literal advice. Never admitting fault. Always trying to project that everyone else has it wrong. Oh, you don't really get how Scientology works, you guys. You don't really get that I was so, you know, external, outward looking. Please, Mike Rinder. We're not children that you can manipulate anymore. We are adults in adult bodies with grown-ass brains. We can think for ourselves. We're not outsourcing our critical thinking skills to you. Since that didn't really work out for us very well, did it? My hope for Real Housewives of New York is that other drama queen cast members call her out, which will hopefully bring a lot more eyeballs to the Scientology scam. I mean, that's the only lemonade we have to make, you guys. I mean, literally, it's fine. Bring it on. Show us the housewives. I mean, we could not put this on our bingo card again, you guys. I mean, the joke of the situation could literally not write itself. Because in what world did you ever think that, remember when Reese and Aaron were doing the housewives of the Scientology Facebook, where you have all the Scientology parents blabbing about how they're auditing their kids, sending their kids to get audited, sending their kids to be handled at the hotel. Like, we have the receipts. We've shown receipts a million, trillion, zillion times. But it's just that people have been playing dumb and giving people benefit of the doubt that don't deserve a shred of benefit of the doubt. L. Ron Hubbard didn't want his proteges to have a shred of plausible deniability. His whole entire scheme is grab you, bring you in, turn you into him, and before you know it, you have no plausible deniability because you've been following L. Ron Hubbard's advice to the letter. You become L. Ron Hubbard. You pay to become L. Ron Hubbard. And since L. Ron Hubbard literally died a convicted felon, guess what all of these people become? De facto become. Oh yeah, innocent until proven guilty, until you go get the files. Until you go get all the PC folders, until you go get all the ethics folders, until you go get all the student files, until you go get all the personnel files. Everything is written by these people. These are robots. These are drones. They're completely senseless. They will write that they committed a crime, that they laundered it, and think nothing of it because they're talking in L. Ron Hubbard's language, which literally incentivizes them to become ensnared, to normalize it at scale, to everyone get into the page of L. Ron Hubbard. Let's all be on the same page, you guys. Let's not disagree. Let's all be on the same reality. That's why we love each other so much. I mean, that's how they're pitching it inside of the hotel, you guys. We all love each other so much because of that. Exactly. The internet will destroy Scientology when more people understand what actually is going on. And that's why Scientology didn't want the internet, you guys, because they cannot stand a shred of scrutiny. And unfortunately, it's taken all of us kids that were abused inside of those hotels to now have to come forward with this very inconvenient, disgusting facts that none of us wanted. None of us asked to be trafficked. None of us asked to be ensnared inside of the hotel. None of us asked to be audited. None of us asked to be doing grooming, disgusting courses. None of us asked to be ethics handled. And that's why all the Scientology parents have blood on their hands. I don't care if you left. I don't care where in the hell you are. Nothing has been done to stop the problem. So what type of pathetic attempts have been done to so-called rein anything back? Bingo, you guessed it, nothing. Nothing has been done. Everything that was done to us continues to be done to other children. Everything that was done to cover up criminal activity, to launder the felony, to sell these people packages so that they can go clear up felonies, sponsored by the IRS, state sanctioned. So then you wonder why there are no RICO charges. Well, the state is so involved. We know the IRS is involved. We know the IRS is intimately involved in literally sanctioning all the criminal acts that are being discussed inside of these hotels under the guise that is a very religious, whatever in the hell the IRS is going with. Ignorance is not bliss. IRS didn't do a shred of due diligence. They didn't open up the books. They just listened to Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, and David Miscavige pitch how they really wanted to save our world and stop discriminating against us because we're such a minority. They were playing the minority card. Imagine these white, middle-aged men that went and pretended that they were the ones that were being discriminated in the minority. That's what they played. And imagine the idiots at the IRS with zero critical thinking skills, zero ability to open up a book and read what it says, as if it doesn't say in Dianetics that if a 7-year-old child is getting kissed by a grown adult, is the problem of the child. So in the very first book already is literally pedos grooming manual. And the IRS is, nowhere to be found because you know what? They got told that this was a very, very valid nonprofit. And once we call you that, we're never going to be around to, take anything back because the IRS is that sure of themselves. So when we think that Scientology is just like abusing children in a vacuum, they have enablers. The level of child trafficking that is taking place inside of these hotels could not happen without enablers. So as much as everybody's concentrated on, David Miscavige, it's the enablers that provide, that make the temperature of the environment so ripe for the corruption to literally proliferate ad nauseum. And it is, like someone just commented, the truth will literally prevail. Because it's utterly and completely unconscionable that nothing has been done as of the year 2024 to rein anything in. Ask yourselves that question. In what world are we in this year 2024 with nothing being done? No protections, no guardrails, full exposure of children, as if we already don't have that on video recording, thanks to all the streamers, thanks to all the protesters that are standing outside of these establishments, watching from outside, mind you, not from inside, not like the Scientology parents that had a front row seat. The ones that even left, that are nowhere to be found repudiating anything that matters, because all they do is position and posture BS to make themselves the victims. That's the problem with all of you have today. You're not the victim if you are the enabler. You're not the victim if you are the Ghislaine Maxwell. You're not the victim if you're the parent that put your child in harm's way, that put your child in aggravated felony child abuse scenarios, that paid for that to be done to your own child. Your only cover is that no one has caught up to your depravity. Your only cover is that you've been relying on the fact that apparently L. Ron Hubbard is such an American-bred God that no one can see what in the hell is in those files. And all it would take is for the feds to do what they did with P. Diddy. Go in, grab the information. These people already wrote it away. So, like L. Ron Hubbard said, the criminal always wants to get caught, and these people want to get caught. Sending their kids to the Mace Kingsley Ranch. I mean, that's like their trouble teen industry, horrendous, disgusting place, you guys. I mean, they literally have it all. I mean, it's like they were pressed to not literally miss anything on the manual of abuse. And that's why we are calling you out, Rebecca Minkoff, because instead of breaking the generational trauma, you're continuing it. Instead of saying no, you're saying yes. Instead of realizing that L. Ron Hubbard is nothing but a convicted felon, you're going with the pitch that he is really an amazing person and that you are also here to save a world. Well, double check that pitch really quick. Double check if you're really saving a world, or if you can really even pretend to claim to be saving a world if children are being trafficked at an industrial size scale. Just check it out for yourself if that's actually a thing that can be a reality. Because in Scientology, Rebecca Minkoff, that's called a contrary fact. If children are being trafficked, and check the laws so you can see for yourself what it says in the law. In black and white, not green on white, not red on white, what L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon that he was, wrote. Check what's written on black and white. Check if passports being locked up for children that were inside those hotels isn't a felony. You run a multi-million-dollar business. Are you in the business of locking up your employees' passports as well? So, yeah, what world are they saving? Or what world are you all creating is really what the question is. What type of world are you literally creating? So I thank you guys all for watching. Now we know that we're going to get special guest appearances of Rebecca Minkoff, and we'll bring those all to you. And in the meantime, I thank you for educating yourself on the dangers involved for children as it applies to whatever in the hell these people are subjecting their kids to. And to continue to advocate that no more children get audited, no more children get ethics handled, and no more children are used to do grooming, disgusting courses that they should be nowhere near. We are sounding the alarm, code red, children in danger. And whoever wants to continue playing dumb, continue being short-sighted. Continue standing on the side of the lies. Continue standing with a convicted felon. The more you stand with L. Ron Hubbard, the more you're going to find yourself drowning in the aftermath of it all. Because there's nothing there for anybody. It needs to be confronted. Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be difficult? Yes, you better believe it's going to be the most difficult thing in the literal world that you will ever have to do. But you know what? It's going to be worth it. The day that no kids are subjected to these disgusting, depraved abuses, y'all are going to be better off. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys extremely soon.